Many people they have confusion about this the concept of the risk management. So today we will discuss the risk management. This risk management based on the Nebosh IGC-IG1 element number 3, as well as the Abu Dhabi system framework ADOSH system framework version 4.0, the current version, and the best practices, because we not only use these books, Nebosh, as well as the ADOSH system framework version 4.0. We also use other books in internet and our own understanding to make this very simple. So we start now. If you are not on our channel, please subscribe the channel so that you get the new videos on time and increase your QHSE competency in the field. Course contents, we will discuss all these topics one by one in the this video. Objective of the course is to introduce the concept of risk assessment. What is actually the risk assessment in risk management and its role within UAE health and safety legislation, to define the principal components of risk management, to outline advanced risk assessment methodologies for use in QRS, to outline a practical risk assessment process. The five steps to risk assessment is a legal requirement. What are the legal requirements? 5 steps to risk assessment, HSE books. Then ISO standards, ISO 31000-2018, risk management principles and guidelines, standards from Australia HB 203-220, environmental risk management principles and process, ADOSH system framework, management system elements, and also the guideline we also took from the guidelines in element number 2. Now, actually, when we are talking about risk, first we have to find out to know about the hazard. Actually, what is hazard? Hazard is anything that has the potential to cause harm. Anything that has the potential to cause harm is called a hazard. Now see, there is a snake. A snake is there, but when we play with the skin, the snake, or we interact with the snake, then the snake will cut us and we will get injury, and this is the risk. So from the hazard we have the risk. Now what is hazard? The potential to cause harm, including ill health, means the health and injury, damage to property, plant, products, or to the environment, production losses, or increased liabilities. This something is called hazard. Now what is risk? When we are talking about risk, now see, he is jumping from one place to another place. So this jumping is activity, and the distance from one to another is a hazard. Now once he fall down, he will get injury or will broken bones or disability or will die. So it's a risk to jump from one place to another. Actually, this distance, what he is doing is jumping is activity, but the distance, the potential distance from this place to this place is a hazard. So now once he jump, then it's hazardous activity, If he got here, okay, but still will be injured. But if fall here, this is called, and get injury is called risk. The likelihood that a specified undesired event will occur due to the realization of a hazard by or during work activity or by the products and services created by work activities is called risk. To ensure a safe work environment, you need to understand the definition of risk. Now, what is risk? For a hazard to cause harm, a hazardous event must happen. Like, see, as I give you the example, a snake. Now we are taking the example of the banana skin. This banana skin is over here. It's a hazard, means slavery. It's a hazard. When we keep our feet on it, it is called hazardous event. Means when we interact, it will be hazardous event. And when we fall and get injury, the injury will be the consequences, and this will called risk. Like the probability and the consequences combined called a risk. So, the skin of banana is a hazard. When we keep our feet on it, it's hazardous event, and we fall down, we getting injury. This is the consequences. In this war, assessing risk. Risk is the combination of the likelihood of a hazardous event occurring and the consequence of the event. When somebody asks you what is risk, risk is the combination of the likelihood of a hazardous event will occur in the consequence of the event. So it's called risk. See? Risk is equal to likelihood multiplied by consequences. What is actually a risk assessment? A risk assessment is actually we're doing in our everyday life, because once we are eating a food, we see spicy or not spicy. This is also a risk assessment. When we cross the road and we see here the signal is green or not green, then if red, then we stop. When it's become green, then we carry on. So now, so when we walking or when we are doing any type of activity and we see here and there to imagine, this imagination is called a risk assessment. Assessing risk. A risk assessment is a careful examination of anything in your work environment that could cause injury or ill health. We are crossing road, we see vehicle is coming or not coming. So this is a risk, assessing risk or risk assessment. Why assessing risk? A risk assessment helps to protect you, your workforce, and your work environment, your work business, the environment of your organization, as well as your business assets. How are risk assessment carried out? Assessing risk. For the risk assessment, there are five steps. Identify the hazards, decide who may be harmed and how, evaluate the risk and decide on precautions, record your findings and implement them. Then the fifth one is the review the assessment and update if necessary. So these are the 5 steps of risk assessment. So now we will take one by one. Classifying work activities. First of all, we have to classify the work activities. From the work activities, we will be able to understand the hazards. Possible ways of classifying work activities include geographical area. So this is coming on the identification of hazards. Geographical area within outside the organization premises, stage in the production process or in the provision of a service, planned and reactive work, defined tasks like driving. Then risk management can be defined as the minimization of the adverse effect of risk to which an organization is exposed. Risk management is minimization of adverse effect of risk to which an organization is exposed. Now let's see, assessing risk, then reducing risk, risk reduction, then is called like first assess the risk, activity characterization, hazard identification, then risk estimation, then option analysis, then decision making, then after this like see, we estimate, then again we will come here. So when we provide the hierarchy of control, implementation, monitoring, audit or review. So actually assessing the risk, we have just only estimate. Risk assessment is the estimation. And once we provide the control measure, means the control measure in terms of implementation, engineering control, or hierarchy, full hierarchy of control, reduction, then isolation, these steps, and also monitoring, some training is required, administrative control, then it will become as the risk management. So this is the principles of risk management. Controlling risk, risk avoidance. This strategy involves a conscious decision on the part of the organization to avoid completely, like the replace a hazardous chemical by one with less risk. Risk retention. The risk is retained in the organization where any consequent loss is financed by the company. There are two aspects of consider here: risk retention with knowledge and risk retention without knowledge. Risk transfer. Transfer the risk means why we do insurance for the vehicles or for the business, different equipment, different items, transfer risk. Then risk transfer, risk reduction. The risks are systematically reduced through control measure according to the hierarchy of control, the risk control described and will come later. LROF. LROF means as low as reasonably practicable. As low as reasonably practicable. To carry out a duty so far as reasonably practicable means that the degree of risk in a particular activity or environment can be balanced against the time, trouble, cost, and the physical difficulty of taking measure to avoid the risk. Actually, when we want to control the risk, balance against the time, trouble, cost, and physical difficulty of taking measure to avoid the risk. Hazard identification and risk assessment. This actually for this hazard identification we will have another video, but little bit it's better to understand this. Start a process by walking around the workplace. For instance, these may arise from work activities, plant and machinery, known hazard, incident report, known near misses. Now we come here. Actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 types of hazard: chemical, ergonomics, physical, work organization hazards, safety hazard, biological hazard. So let's say one by one little bit. Hazard identification. Physical hazard like noise, temperature, and radiation. Chemical hazards like products. Then biological hazards like mold, insect, pest, viruses, bacteria, and fungi. Work organization hazard like stress. Then safety hazard, slips, trips, fall, and faulty equipment. Ergonomic hazard, repetition. Then lifting and awkward posture. So now we will skip this. Biological, ergonomics, then chemical, work organization hazards. For this we will have another video. Now this is slip trip hazard, like see here. Over here we see again the light level is less. low latency. Now noise over here, fire, here biological. See, this fungal infection, I think. The process of recognizing that a hazard exists and defining its characteristics. See, now second, the risk assessment, second step is identification. Decide. First was the identification of hazards, so we discussed this. Decide the second step, who may be harmed and how. Knife. Examples of harm caused, like knife is a hazard. Knife is a hazard. And from this, we have examples of harm caused, means cut. Benzene. Benzene is a hazard. It's a petrochemical and it's a hazard. This called the white blood corpuscles cancer. We call this leukemia. Then asbestos. Asbestos causing mesothelioma. Then electricity caused shock and electrocution. Wet floor cause slips, trips and fall. Welding, metal fumes, fever, and hard rock mining caused silicosis or silicosis. Decide who may be harmed and how. From the workplace, we will decide who are there will be become victim. Now implies visitors, contractors. Contractor also work on our suppliers, member of the public, because the trespasser, consumer of products and services. Environment, specific sensitive are protected environment area and plant, equipment, property damage, cleaners and maintenance workers, members of the public. Then if you share your workplace, you will need to think about how your work affects other present, as well as how their work activity affects your staff. And ask your staff if they can think of anyone you may have missed. Now, come here. So now, this was about the decide who may be harmed. Now we are coming to the third part, evaluate the risk and decide on precautions. Evaluate risk is about developing an understanding of the risk, like risk, for the risk, consequence and likelihood scores. We will evaluate this. Like sources of information is available, a subjective estimate may be made which reflects an individual or group's degree of beliefs that a particular event or outcome will occur. Sources of information may include past record, practice and relevant experience, relevant published literature. Now, economic, engineering, or other models and specialist and expert judgment. Uh, Techniques include structured interview with experts in the area of interest, use of multidisciplinary group of experts, individual evaluation using questionnaires, use of models and simulations. Now, we are appropriate, the confidence placed on estimates of the level of risk shall be included. For the discharge or emission of a pollutant, evaluating factor such as those listed below should help in the assessment of relative consequences, then persistence, then toxicity, health effect, how they will affect the health, the hazards. Now, concentration of chemical is chemical, volume discharge for event, proximity to water bodies, then potential dilution, secondary consequences. We are working on electrical panel or we are changing electrical bulb or something, and we are electrocoated. Now we are in height, so the secondary consequences, the distance from the ground will also be counted. Now health effect, then damage to assets. So now come this one by one. Probability of occurrence. Now see, please try to understand. Workers working on a high level of scaffold. Workers working in a high level of scaffolds without adequate fall protection are at a greater risk of falling and sustaining serious injury, whereas workers working on a lower level of scaffold having adequate fall protection are at a low risk of falling and sustaining serious injury, because the scaffold is also properly installed, and apart from this there is proper supervision is there. So over there, and the distance is also less, so there is a they are secure as compared to the on the high level, because over there the scaffold is without adequate fall protection and a greater risk of falling, sustaining serious injury. Now, many people they don't know how to give the uh, rating for the uh, likelihood. So many majority of the students they don't know how to rate the likelihood. So I got this. So I want to be to discuss this. Uh, like see discriminator, then health and safety. Uh, Over here, I would like to discuss this in terms of environmental. Less than once every 5 years. Rarely means one. The rating will be for the likelihood will be one. Less than once every 5 years means in 5 years, less than 5 years. So 8 years, 6 years, five, not 5 years means less than 5 years means 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. Then possible. Possible means once every 5 years, once in 5 years. So it will be 2. 3 means 1 to 5 times per year. 1 to 5 times per year. It will be likely. Then often. Often or often 5 to 12 times per year. 5 to 12. Then fifth is frequently. Continuous or will happen frequently. So many organizations they have the data, and based on this data they give the rating. So now we are taking the consequences. The consequences we took this from the ADOSH system framework, SF Abu Dhabi system. Now I want to discuss this from over here in terms of health and safety, production loss, and total cost of impact. Because many students they do not understand, and it's very difficult for them to like to understand, to classify, because the risk rating is also because it will give you an idea the consequences or the severity. Minor injuries, like in our company, somebody in our organization, somebody get injury, and we provide first aid. We provide only first aid. Then it is class score is 1, and the score 1 is if the loss is only 5,000 dirham. Over here we provide the first aid, but sent to hospital, sent to the hospital, and they some stitches are there or something. So are the blood more bleeding or something? So we tell them to go follow up the hospital, send to the practitioner to the hospital. So the score is 2. The score is 2 because this is MTC, medical treatment case. Medical treatment case. Now over here, the in terms of cost, like 5,000 to 50,000. Over here, we send to the hospital. In hospital, they give them some LT medical leave. Then it will come in the score 3. Over here, in terms of the medical cost, 50,000 to 5 million. Now here, measure. Single means here single fatality. Over here, 50 million, 500,000 to 10 million, then it will be like minor. Major and multiple fatalities, and over here the loss will be 10 million, more than 10 million. Now in terms of production loss, over here in first, no production loss. If it's manufacturing company, 1 week to 1 month, this is 3. Over 1 month, 2 month, 3 month will be 4. Then over here, loss of license, those will be 5. So in this case, this is the severity rating or the consequence rating. This is difficult to understand, so it's better to take a photo of this and try to read yourself. It will be then same for you people. Now over here the rating, like if actually is the multiplication. Like if we multiply, the likelihood is 3 and the consequence is 3. What will be the risk? Risk 9. If the if the likelihood is 2, over here 2, and the consequences 3, then what will be the rating? Then the rating will be 6. Now over here, if the likelihood is 4 and the consequence is 4, then it will become 16. Here's the multiplication. 1 to 3, low risk. 4 to 6, moderate risk. No immediate action required. Activity or industry can operate, subject to management and or modification. High risk, 8 to 12. High risk activity industry should be modified to include a remedial planning and action and be subject to detailed EHS assessment. Now 15 to 25. Activity should not proceed in current form. Like scaffold is also not properly installed, not properly supervision is there, not inspected. So we will not allow our guys to work. So this is in the extreme risk, we will stop the activity. Evaluation the risk. When the risk is categorized, the entity means organization, identify the correct action in order to manage the hazard at an acceptable and as low as reasonably practicable. LROP means as low as reasonably practicable. Risk level. For hazard with low risk, action may not be required. Identified forcible risk will be eliminated if reasonably practicable. Now, time, trouble, and money. Employers are entitled to balance cost of remedy against benefits and reduction of risk. And if the benefit is minimal compared to the cost, they need not to carry out the duty. Now, the control, when we are talking about the control, eliminate the risk. Manual handling, use some forklift machinery, then lifting by machines. Then substitution, if you have paint, like hazardous paint, we will use water-based paint. Engineering control, provide guards or LEV ventilation, local exhaust ventilation. Signage, administrative control means keep some signage, install signage, then develop procedures and supervision. PPE is the last option that we have. Elimination, substitution, you will get this from the ADOSH system framework version 4.0. It's available in the technical guideline of the ADOSH system framework. Hierarchy of control, this for the environment: reuse, source reduction, reuse, recycling, recovery of energy, treatment, contaminant, disposal and remediation and cleanup. Now, why LRAP is a legal requirement? International standards guideline, entities EHS policy objective, availability of resources, cost and benefits, the status of scientific and technical knowledge. Now, we are coming here. Like when we are talking, the risk register should include in the risk register risk assessment, reference number, activity, risk ranking. Actually, when we develop the risk register, and the risk register will be risk assessment, reference number, activity, name of the activity, risk ranking, control measure, time scale, action owner, and review date. Every organization have their own format. Now this is the sample of the activity, hazard, then damage, then probability rating, severity rating, risk rating, then control measure, then HML or something, then yes or no. So this is a simple format for this. The location, activity and equipment being assessed, hazard and risk level, risk control, review date. Now review and update. In this case, review your findings. When changes occur like personnel change, equipment or activities, you should review your risk assessment. It's a legal requirement to review assessment regularly. The risk assessment is an ongoing process and shall be undertaken at various times, include when planning or making a change to a work procedure, activity and or practices, when introducing new plant, new machinery, new material, after an incident. If some accident happen or near miss, then we will have to review the risk assessment. New workers, friends of high level of risk situated at a regular or scheduled interval appropriate to the nature of the organization or workplace and the hazards present. Actually, this is a normal practice. The risk assessment is annually reviewed, but if there more frequently, if there are some accidents, workplace, new machinery, so change will be review will be management of change. When legislation obligation change, including legislation before work activities begin. Competency requirement. Those carrying out the risk assessment should be competent to do so. Competence is defined as sufficient training and experience or knowledge and other qualities to enable a person to properly undertake the measures need to comply with EHS legislation. Consultation took place at every stage of the risk management process. And the people who are part of the activity will be consulted. Now see over here, because in the risk assessment we have to consult the implies owner of the activity, because they know better, they have work hand-on experience. A consultative group could include workers, supervisors, workplace health and safety representative, workplace health and safety committee, contractors and other relevant stakeholders. Consultation between management worker and stakeholder is beneficial throughout the risk management process because it brings together different areas of expertise 2. Identify and analyze risk and allows those with day-to-day experience of the hazard to provide valuable input. Allows workers to have ownership of the risk. Now, increase likelihood of commitment, increase worker morale when we consult them. So it will enhance their morale, satisfaction and retention rates. Improve trust, communication and teamwork. Improve productivity. Contribute to developing a positive safety culture in the workplace. Now see, now this guy, he is working. He knows actually the hazards, what the hazards are there in the machines, in this plant, in this machinery. The other people, if somebody come and they conduct the risk assessment, they don't know. Now over here, he is a competent guy here, and this she is working here, so she knows. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video, hazard identification. So if you are new on your channel, so you subscribe this so that you get the videos on time. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.